Judiciary are completely up in arms and they're outraged over this brazen move to impeach the judge. And they have hit out at the opposition, claiming that this is nothing but an attempt to intimidate the judiciary. Let me, in fact, go across to my colleague Sagarika, who will take us through this open letter that's been now signed by several former members of the judiciary, including High Court and Supreme Court justices. Sagarika, over to you. What does the letter say?
So there are 56 signatories to this open letter. Two former Supreme Court judges, and then there are judges of high courts from different states. Now, let me tell you, and give me some time, because this is a letter where very important concerns have been raised by former High Court and former Supreme Court judges. It says, and I quote, the subject is called to protect the independence of judiciary. It's a statement of solidarity, and the letter reads, we, the former judges of the Honorable Supreme Court and former Chief Justices and judges of the Honorable High Courts, take serious exception to the attempt being made by certain members of Parliament and other senior advocates to impeach Honorable Justice G.R. Swaminathan of the Madras High Court. This is a brazen attempt to browbeat judges who do not fall in line with the ideological and political expectations of a particular section of the society. If such an attempt is permitted to proceed, it would cut at the very roots of our democracy and the independence of the judiciary. Even if reasons mentioned by the signatory members of Parliament are taken at face value, they are wholly inadequate to justify resorting to such a rare, exceptional and serious constitutional measure as impeachment. It may be recalled that even during the dark period of emergency, the then government adopted various mechanisms, including supersessions, to penalize judges who refuse to toe the line. Then there is a mention that has been made. So remember, these are judges, former judges of the Supreme Court,
yes,
of the High Courts, who've come out and who have taken a stand against the bid to impeach Justice G.R. Swaminathan. Here the judges have also mentioned attempts, and they're talking about a particular pattern.
Okay.
These judges say the present move is not an isolated aberration. It fits into a clear and deeply troubling pattern in our recent constitutional history, where sections of the political class have sought to discredit and intimidate the higher judiciary whenever outcomes do not align with their interests. The unprecedented bid in 2018 to initiate impeachment proceedings against then Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra, the sustained campaigns of vilification directed at Chief Justices Ranjan Gogoi, S.A. Bobde and D.Y. Chandrachud while they were in office, and the targeted attacks now being mounted against the incumbent CJI Justice Suryakant whenever judgment displeases them. So this is the kind of very strong position taken by judges. There are 56 signatories to this letter. I will also take you through the list of signatories.
We'll come to that in just a bit. You've highlighted some of the important paragraphs from that open letter. We have one of the signatories to that letter, Justice S.N. Dingra, joining us on the phone line as we speak. Good afternoon to you, sir. But this is an extremely worrying development that we're seeing on the part of at least 120 members of Parliament who've decided to move this impeachment motion against Justice Swaminathan. And you, of course, expressed your outrage, saying that this is part of a pattern of events. Can you tell us, sir, more about the letter that you've signed and why the opposition's move in this case is outrageous?
See, this the impeachment motion which the certain members of Parliament have submitted is preposterous. One cannot even think of that one day our Parliament will, members of Parliament will fall to this extent, that they would want to impeach a judge for giving a judgment. See, this is, and more so when the judgment is given by High Court and there is a remedy available. If it had been a judgment of Supreme Court and the members had said that we have no other remedy except to impeach the judges for giving a judgment based on ideology, then one could have thought that, okay, you are fighting an ideological battle. But look, in our country, we are promoting judges to High Court on the basis of ideology. Justice Krishna Iyer was the first example who was promoted to High Court, elevated to High Court, because he was a communist. He was holding ministerial post, and then he was made a judge. And you are saying that because it is an ideological judgment, so judge has given on the basis of ideology, and you want to impeach him? I'm sorry. And then you must come out. What are the demerits in the judgment?
Right.
Where is judgment is not in accordance with law. You, instead of telling the people that this judgment is bad because it is not according to law, or it is not according to constitution, you are saying because this judgment is in favor of Hindus, you want to impeach the judge. And it's something preposterous. And I don't want to talk more about the members of parliament.
Sure.
And their way of working and thinking. You see, for asking questions, some of them take money. For voting, some of them take money. And these are the persons who have come out to impeach a judge on the basis of his judgment. Very surprising. That is why, you see, we had quoted and given examples how this can, you see, destroy the whole institution. It is attacking the institution. You are attacking.
That's something that you mentioned in the letter as well, Justice Dingra, that right now the attempt might be to target one individual. Tomorrow it could be the very institution which is the judiciary. Thank you for joining us, Justice Dingra. We are also currently joined by the former Chief Justice of the Patna High Court, Justice Narasimha Reddy. Many thanks, Justice Reddy, for speaking to Times Now. So what do you have to say about this move that's been made by 120 members of parliament to impeach a sitting judge of the Madras High Court and the dangerous precedent that this sets up?
This is a very, very dangerous trend in a democracy, and it is totally unprecedented and unwarranted. And this, as you have been observing so far, it will cut at the very roots of the institution. And if you don't like by its very nature, an adjudication will never satisfy both the parties. One of them is likely to be dissatisfied. That doesn't mean that you can attack the judge. And here in this case, the persons who are dissatisfied happen to be a group of politicians. They can't go to the extent of initiating impeachment proceedings against a judge. Never this occurs in a healthy democracy, and with due respect to the signatories of the requisition, they are not well informed and they are not well advised also.
Justice Reddy, a couple of important takeaways from the open letter as well. One is, of course, that this is part of a disturbing trend, a repetitive trend that we've noticed on the part of certain members of parliament, particularly from the opposition, who are trying to attribute certain motives to people within the judiciary and trying to basically take steps to impeach them. The other is the allegation that's also been made by the opposition, sir, particularly with respect to the current judge that we're speaking of, that there is favoritism that's practiced on his part in terms of favoring certain lawyers from a certain community. Does this cut any ice with you? How would you respond to those kind of wild allegations which are completely uncorroborated made by the opposition?
It only shows the lack of maturity on their part. The judges are functioning within their own sphere of activity, just as the parliamentarians or legislators are doing it. If I don't like the functioning of a legislator, can I initiate the proceedings for his removal? And here the office of High Court judge is highly protected, and without that protection, it may not be possible to undertake an adjudication independently and effectively. And if you keep on threatening the judges like this, the very sheen of the judiciary is taken away. This is a dangerous trend, and I'm sure that the persons who are having proper understanding of the functioning of judiciary or democracy for that matter will prevail upon the concern to ensure that such steps do not fructify.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Justice Reddy, for speaking to us. We also have a response now coming from the ruling party in the state of Tamil Nadu, the DMK. We have Mr. Salem Dharnidharan also joining us. Mr. Dharnidharan, good afternoon. But it appears that the opposition is clearly in the dock on this particular issue because it's decided to move an impeachment motion just because it has a judgment that's not to its liking. Of course, it's attributed a series of other motives on the part of Justice Swaminathan in this particular case, but very senior members, former members of the judiciary, including 2 Supreme Court judges and High Court justices, have written an open letter condemning this move. What's your response to that?
Hey, I think you are saying it is because of judgment. I am saying the conduct with evidence for the last 3 years of G.S. Swaminathan has not been befitting of a justice. Someone who is acting as a justice, his job is to give justice. He's supposed to behave in a non-partisan manner. But the Justice G.S. Swaminathan, time and again, has behaved in a partisan manner, has showed an ideological inclination. He has sat in RSS function, he has sat with BJP leaders such as H. Raja and ridiculed the ideology of my party. He is sitting in the bench. He has remarked that non-Brahmins are not fit to be priests. When hearing about my party...
Well, he's also, if you look at his judgments, he's also, of course, ruled in favor of the Sufi community as well. It's very difficult to start ascribing motives to somebody just based on a few judgments that he might have delivered. But Mr. Dharnidharan, I'm sure you also know that Mr. Baharul Islam was once a member of parliament belonging to the Congress. He subsequently joined the judiciary as well. So if you want to talk about one set of trends, let's talk about the other as well. But we'll slip into a short break. Thank you for your response. We'll continue our